American are weak. The American are weak. American are weak. American are weak. I'll turn their information highway into a highway of death. Highway of death. Highway of death. Receiving better reports from the CNN than from my own field commanders. Heads will roll if I don't start getting some accurate information.
Some things never change. Almost 2,500 years ago, the Chinese general and military philosopher Sun Tzu said, "Know the enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be in peril. If ignorant of both your enemy and of yourself, you are certain in every battle to be in peril." Simple translation, what happens when your information is bad? You lose. What has changed dramatically since Sun Tzu's day is the way we gather, communicate, manage, process, and employ information. For instance, as late as the 17th century, experts tell us, the global information database was doubling approximately every 150 years. Today, the experts tell us it is doubling every 3.5 years, with the rate of change continuing to accelerate due to dramatic changes in information management technology. An information revolution is transforming our world. The evidence of this transformation is everywhere, and it is changing our very lifestyle. Many of us have cellular phones in our cars, fax machines in our offices, and computers in our homes and workplaces. While the term cyberspace is still new to us, more and more of us are meeting there daily. According to noted computer security expert Win Schwarthout, cyberspace is that intangible place between computers where information momentarily exists on its route from one end of the global network to the other. Increasingly, we rely on computer networks to communicate with each other. In cyberspace, we cross organizational and national boundaries with impunity, communicating as easily with someone a world away as with our coworker in the office next door. The ease with which we collect, transmit, store, and use information in this new environment has created new opportunities for all of us, but it has also created unfamiliar and dangerous vulnerabilities. As more and more information is stored electronically, old techniques of physical security fail us. Piracy in file cabinets is readily detectable. However, the cybernaut navigating the information highway to rummage through your email or desktop computer files is essentially invisible. Like it or not, the information age involves all of us, each struggling for the information we need to survive every day. When you use a radio, a personal digital assistant, a computer or telephone, or as everyone does, just throw out the trash, you are a target of those who wish to dominate your access and use of information. In the next few minutes, we want to introduce you to 1, the nature of this struggle, 2, the U.S. military means of conducting it, and 3, some ways for you to protect yourself and our country against exploitation. First, let's look at the nature of the struggle. When thinking about this subject, what must be emphasized is that we are describing a revolution, at least as dramatic as the Industrial Revolution. As you learned years ago, the Industrial Revolution changed almost everything. The way we communicated, the way we traveled, the way wealth was created and accumulated, and the way the world organized itself. The Information Revolution is expected to have even more dramatic impacts. Information can now be transmitted globally in nanoseconds with modern television, telephones, and computer networks. We travel through cyberspace via video teleconferencing and perhaps soon interactive television. Wealth creation and accumulation is now becoming more dependent upon our ability to control and use information than upon the control and exploitation of raw materials. Just as the land barons gave way to the industrial tycoons will soon pass the baton to the information moguls. Just as global reorganization accompanied the Industrial Revolution, the Information Revolution will once again alter world organizational structures. Accompanying the changes associated with the Industrial Revolution were equally significant changes in warfare. Smoothbore muskets gave way to rifles and machine guns. Wooden men of war gave way to steam-driven fighting ships made of steel. Small armies of misfits and conscripts commanded by aristocratic amateurs gave way to huge citizen armies led by highly trained commanders. Ultimately, it brought us from the trusty mount to tanks, helicopters, and jet planes. In the information age, the traditional clash of arms will be preceded and accompanied by an intense struggle in cyberspace, what we will refer to in the rest of this video as information warfare. The goal of this struggle will be information superiority, the ability to control and use information better than our adversary. We will come back to this point in a few minutes, but first a question. When is the revolution in military affairs likely to occur? At least part of the answer was provided in a recent NBC nightly news broadcast. According to the NBC report, all kinds of crooks travel the internet in search of fun and profit. Apparently, many of them target DoD computer systems. In the 12 months preceding the NBC broadcast, 254 cyber intruders were detected attempting to enter or manipulate DoD computer systems. The report also claimed that 98% of such attacks go unreported. These numbers would imply 12,700 unreported attempts during one 12-month period. This could be a big so what, except for what normally happens once they have access. Jim Christie, director of the Air Force Office of Special Investigations Computer Crime Investigations Division, says that once hackers gain access to a system of interest, they will very quickly obtain administrator-level privileges. Such privileges allow them to manipulate, modify, or delete any file in the system. This can include the power to destroy every software or data file in your system with a few keystrokes. Imagine trying to fight a Desert Storm-type conflict without computer support. Apparently, the information age is here. The revolution in military affairs is already underway, and we are engaged in the struggle for information superiority. But who is engaged? Certainly, nation-states like the United States are big players, especially since they still control vast industrial-age warfighting capabilities. But more and more, other types of organizations are becoming global power brokers. Multi- and transnational corporations like IBM and Sony. Collective security organizations like NATO and the United Nations. And international consortia like OPEC. There are also groups whose motives are very different. There are crime organizations like the drug cartels, terrorist groups like Abu Nidal and the IRA, cyberpunk hacker organizations like the Legion of Doom and the Masters of Destruction, and who knows who else. Any or all of these criminal groups have reason to be interested in and capable of intercepting, altering, or destroying U.S. civil and military databases and decision-making systems and processes. After all, information warfare primarily involves decision-making. We rely on several facets of information warfare to influence the adversary's decision-making processes and achieve information superiority. Psychological operations, PSYOP, military deception, electronic warfare, EW, physical destruction, and various security measures like OPSEC, COMSEC, and CompuSec. PSYOP is the reinforcement of truth to influence an adversary's emotions, motives, objective reasoning, and behavior. When properly used, PSYOP can lower morale and reduce efficiency of enemy forces. For instance, during the Persian Gulf War, PSYOP leaflets and loudspeaker announcements of B-52 strikes and other bombing operations resulted in mass Iraqi desertions and surrenders. By dominating the emotions, motives, and reasoning of deployed Iraqi forces, Allied information warriors achieved campaign objectives and avoided unnecessary casualties. Military deception involves actions to deceive enemy decision-makers or protect friendly capabilities. The goal is to cause the enemy decision-maker to respond in a manner that assists the accomplishment of friendly objectives. Again, during the Persian Gulf War, one coalition deception effort was intended to convince Iraqi decision-makers that the ground attack would be supported by amphibious operations. This deception kept 6 Iraqi divisions tied up on the Kuwaiti coastline. Iraqi decision-makers were deceived, confused, and led to make poor decisions regarding the disposition of their forces. Electronic warfare is any action involving the use of electromagnetic or directed energy to attack an enemy or control the electromagnetic spectrum. Electronic warfare has a threefold purpose. First, to degrade, neutralize, or destroy enemy combat capabilities. Second, to protect personnel, facilities, and equipment from the effects of friendly or enemy employment of electronic warfare. And third, to provide information required for immediate decisions. During Operation Desert Storm, wild weasels destroyed radar and missile sites. EC-130s, EF-111s, and EA-6Bs jammed enemy radars and other electronic devices. And RC-135s and EP-3s provided the adversary order of battle. All three purposes of EW were well served. By effectively integrating and employing both the lethal and non-lethal capabilities of electronic warfare, theater campaign planners achieved information warfare objectives in support of the theater campaign. Physical destruction depends on the ability to identify, locate, and prioritize enemy targets accurately and then destroy them selectively. In Operation Desert Storm, one of the key aspects of the attack on the Integrated Air Defense System, IADS, was the destruction of sector operations centers and other key nodes. Hard-kill weapons like precision-guided munitions dropped by both the F-111 and the F-117 also contributed to the coalition's information superiority over Iraq. Security measures are used for denying adversaries information about measures to achieve strategic, operational, or tactical surprise. By effectively hiding our intent, the coalition enhanced its effectiveness and achieved information warfare objectives during the initial attack on the Iraqi IADS. In combat, it is important to integrate all the facets we have just described. But in peacetime, OPSEC is the most important of the military's information warfare tools. It is your primary weapon in the daily struggle for information superiority. How you, the individual warfighter, protect yourself, your organization, and your country from domination by our adversaries. Whether you realize it or not, we are all targets because of who we are, citizens of the United States and members of the military. Our daily operations can be attacked from a variety of angles. Dumpster divers go through our trash looking for phone lists, unit rosters, even unclassified password listings. So-called sniffers monitor our phone conversations, email, and other computer data transmissions. Mappers penetrate our networks, finding the entrances and exits of the digital highway system, graphically depicting how we are connected to one another so others can exploit our systems. Sniffers use these maps to navigate through our networks and computer systems looking for passwords, access methods, and security information. Crackers decipher passwords, breach security systems, and build trapdoors for future entry. Later, other cybernautics specialists try to penetrate our systems to collect, analyze, manipulate, and destroy vital data and data systems. How do they gain entry? All too often the answer is quite easily. We make it easy for them by leaving our doors wide open. How do you dispose of your old recall rosters? How carefully do you consider the information you pass on the telephone? Do you know anyone who leaves a modem computer unattended? Would you even know if you were being attacked? And whom would you report it to? There are a number of ways to protect yourself from these attacks and to answer these often embarrassing questions. Most of the ComSec protection methods available to the average user deny the three things most needed by information warriors: personal information, access time to your systems and databases, and the opportunity to exploit access. For instance, personal information is important to cybernetic adversaries because it offers them the tools for easy access to your personal and office databases. Information like telephone lists, address files, charge slips, especially anything that gives them clues to how you operate and how you might be vulnerable in cyberspace. For example, when selecting passwords, most of us choose something with personal meaning to us: our spouse's name, a pet name for a loved one, or a favorite automobile. Some of us even use a form of our own name. Dumpster divers and sniffers target this kind of personal information. Be careful with what you discard in the trash, what you say on the phone, and what you broadcast into cyberspace, like information broadcast over the personal digital assistants, PDAs, soon to be used by many flight line personnel. Discarding or passing interesting information can make you a target, even if you wouldn't be otherwise. Modern technology makes it possible for sniffers to gather massive amounts of information from large target audiences and cull it later for the individually interesting pieces. Lucrative sources can then be targeted for individual attention. Adversaries who possess personal information of this nature gain quick and easy access to our systems and data. The faster they can enter our systems, the more time they have to do us harm. Even if we successfully deny the kind of personal information cyber warriors are looking for, they still may penetrate our systems, but they will require more time to navigate their way into the good stuff they are looking for. With so many of us hooking up to telephone modems, internet, and a large number of online services available commercially, arriving at your cyber doorstep is pretty simple. If you operate a computer with a modem or are connected to a local area network, cyber warriors can find you. If your door is standing open, they will walk in. Your OPSEC objective is to close and lock as many doors and windows as you can while still operating at full capacity yourself. How can you do this? First, wall off your personal cyberspace. This includes both physical and electronic security measures. Simple actions will work for most of you. Lock your office when you're not in it. Disable your modem when you are not using it. Disconnect from the local area network when you have no immediate need for it. Use passwords. Make them unpredictable. Keep them unpredictable and change them frequently. When possible, keep important information, programs, and databases on removable storage media. Don't leave data disks or other storage media lying around. In combination, all of these actions will make it more difficult for the adversaries to access, manipulate, and use your information and data. It will also reduce the probability that your system will be used as a gateway to your network. The doors and windows are locked. The gate is closed. Break-ins are not precluded, but they are now much less likely. Just as important as protecting our information systems from intrusion is protecting our programs, data, and information from disease. Some of the intruders are just as happy simply to corrupt our data, making it useless to us and to others we want to share with. We all understand that computer viruses are a real threat. But did you know that the most common method of transmission is still the floppy disk carried from one computer to another? This suggests at least one good protective measure for viruses. Don't carry data disks from one system to another without virus checking. This won't protect you completely, but it will reduce your vulnerability to known viruses. Because computer viruses, just like real viruses, are always mutating, update your virus checker as frequently as possible. Also, run your virus checker at least once daily on your entire system. There are more things you can do to protect yourself, but we'll get back to you on that in subsequent videos. In the meantime, if you think you are experiencing a cyber attack, contact your local system administrator for further instructions. Cyber attack danger signs include slower than normal machine operation, concurrent machine failures, unexplained increases in the amount of disk space occupied, and changes in the length of programs. If you think you're being attacked and you don't know what to do, who are you going to call? Virus Busters at DSN 969-3157. An Air Force Computer Emergency Response Team will be on the way. No kidding. We really have these teams, and this is the real phone number. However, they are a limited resource, so before making the call, follow established local procedures when dealing with an attack. All the defenses we have described for you will help them by reducing the number of attacks they have to deal with. Finally, keep in mind that OPSEC, important as it is just one of several facets that comprise information warfare, and information warfare itself has both offensive and defensive applications. Next time, we'll take a closer look at additional aspects of information warfare.